Here at the Glass Eye, we, and by we I mean I, strive to do just one thing: provide practical advice. This is when your plan doesn't work at all. For practical situations that you're probably gonna find yourself in. Can you not do that, please?
Did you get rammed?
Please do it. Fujifilm was kind enough to send me their biggest sensored, most megapixel camera to try out. And so I thought I would try it out in situations that the camera was designed to be used. I thought, you know, portraiture, products, that sort of thing. Now, as soon as I received the camera, our whole family got sick. It was like 2.5 weeks. So that meant no shoots. And now I've got about 3 days to figure out what I'm gonna do with this camera to test it out before I have to send it back to Fujifilm. There's been a subject I've wanted to photograph for portrait work that I've never had the chance to.
Would you like to participate? Oh, yes.
You got a 100 megapixel camera. This is a perfect opportunity. I started cold calling nearby farms, and that's how I met Dr. Albert Anderson. He's a retired veterinarian, and him and his wife Dorothy have this beautiful farm called Alder Acres. He was immediately open to the idea and just welcomed me to the farm. The thing was though, Albert said I'm pretty much on my own. So he's like, you know, whatever you're trying to do here, figure it out yourself. So meaning I had to figure out some way to get these animals to cooperate with me. So I found some other people that were willing to come who were equally inexperienced, and this is what happened. Now I want to do these portraits like you would a human portrait with a backdrop and lighting, and I had this genius idea. I thought, let's raise the platform where the animal will be standing. So I'd have the backdrop go over this elevated platform. And the reason you have it elevated is so that the animal, when it's on there, it's sort of confined to this space, so it's a little hesitant to jump off, at least for a moment, and then you can grab the photo, and then there you go. And I've done this before with my dog, it works. So I thought this is gonna be easy.
Like the cat's just jumping on. To be like one of those clickbait titles, it's like, photo shoot gone horribly wrong. Thumbnail, just you're like, ah, yeah. What a mess.
Move your hand out of the way. Move your hand out of the way.
Oh. Man.
Oh, that's better.
No, come next to me. Come next to me. Come next to me. Come next to me over here. Yeah. Come next to me.
No. I'm pretty sure this is like ninja training. Like if you can catch one of these things, then pretty much ready to be a ninja.
That's not gonna happen. When things aren't working out, you just adjust, right? So I thought, you know what? Instead of having the animals come to us, we would go to them. I have like the pop-out thing, you know, the 5-in-1. So what we could do is we turn it to the white. You could hold it behind the animal. We bring the strobe next to it, because that is not happening. They don't like it.
I think they're the gold side weirds them out. The goat's attacking this thing.
You know what? We have to make that work. We had to adjust once again, and I thought, you know what? Let's go back to the first idea. We didn't have to make that work. And instead of having the raised platform, let's just have the seamless roll come right onto the ground.
What happened? We have one. So cute.
Ow. 3, 2, 1. Jesus. She's gonna beat me up back here. Take it easy, man. And things still weren't going great. Things still weren't really going great. But luckily Albert came by and helped us corral the animals just a little bit. And I managed to get just a few shots. There you are. I mean, it really is very different when you bring those images home and look at them on a monitor. And I know that's the case with any camera, but especially when you've got a 100 megapixel image. There's something about the image that feels like it's not digital. There's so much detail. You just keep zooming in and you don't see pixels. There's more and more detail. It's stunning. The GFX is in no way a fast camera. As a matter of fact, it's a pretty slow camera. It's a 5 frames per second burst rate. The autofocus is usually a little slow to keep up with what you're trying to shoot, especially if you're trying to shoot farm animals that you have no experience with. I think everything about it, compared to say a Canon or a Sony, feels a lot slower, but it kind of comes with the territory of having such a giant sensor with 100 megapixels on it. Okay, now I was ready to try a subject that was a little less unpredictable. Wow. Nope. With a little less feces. The shoot that I had booked got canceled because the other person got sick. And then anybody else is not really taking their car out because it's been snowing and there's salt on the road. So I did what I usually do when I'm stuck and I need a car. I call Peter. Luckily, he's just finishing up this beautiful 912 for a client, and it's at his buddy Juan's shop.
Fucking Peter! You're scaring everyone. The mechanic left already. And the fucking owner of the car almost has the house.
So he's like, well, we can't take it out on the road. The car's not even done yet. I said, that's fine. Let's shoot it at the shop. It was like the end of the day. We had about an hour and a bit to shoot this car before Juan was closing up. And the next day I was sending the camera back. So I just packed my gear and headed straight there. So I used an off-camera strobe for these shots. I had the GFX on a tripod, and I alternated between the 32 to 64 and the 80mm lens. Then I used the Fujifilm app to remotely trigger the camera at a distance because I was walking around with the light, and I would capture different exposures with the light in different positions. So for example, in this image, you see there's the practical light in the shot, but it wasn't quite bright enough to light the car the way I wanted to. So I went upstairs, and I had the strobe pointing down at the car, and I would remotely trigger it, and then get those exposures along with a few others and merge them together, and this is what you get. And man, I know I'm a broken record, but when you take these into post, when you are looking at these in Photoshop and zooming in, the amount of detail is unbelievable. I feel like the GFX is an insane value proposition if you compare it to other medium format cameras. And if you compare it to mirrorless cameras like the R5 or the Alpha 1 or the A7R4, then maybe you could say that it has some deficiencies in terms of how fast it operates compared to those cameras. But then again, those cameras don't give you the image quality that the GFX does. So it's a trade-off that you got to consider, and I think that trade-off is really dependent on the kind of work that you do. I can't say to you that it's worth it or not worth it because I have no idea what you do or how much you charge for what you do. What I can say is I want one very badly because the images, when you pair the GF lenses with that sensor, are just unreal. There's a morning that I had to send the camera back and I really didn't want to because I'd just gotten used to it. You know, I shot the animals, we shot the car, the images were just sublime, but I had to send it back. But I thought, you know what, I could probably squeeze in one last shoot. I could do it at home.
Right. You get your talent.
And probably use some of the lessons that I learned back at the farm. Then let's try some shots. I'm gonna have to turn this light off though.